I come from the foothills of Himalayas, from Dehradun. I did my bachelor's and master's in physics from New Delhi. Currently, I am working in experimental particle physics as a part of the CMS collaboration. Hi, my name is Riya Sharma and I am a woman in science.
I'm a master's student in Savitribai Phule Pune University and I've done my bachelor's from Ferguson College. I've been here in Pune for more than 5 years now, away from home back in Gondia. Hello, I'm Chitrakshee Yede and I'm a woman in science.
I'm pursuing my bachelor's in physics about 1,000 miles away from the comforts of my home in Lucknow. I'm still trying to adjust from the tender kebabs to the spicy vada paos. My name is Uttsavi Rastogi and I am a woman in science.
Hey, I grew up in the Oxford of the East, that is, the city of Pune. I am pursuing my bachelor's in physics at Savitribai Phule Pune University. I am Vaidehi Tikhe and I am a woman in science.
I was born in Kansas, but as we can see, we are not in Kansas anymore. I've always been interested in science outreach, either by giving talks at local schools or conducting exhibitions at Ferguson College. I'm Shailee Khandekar and I'm a woman in science.
I work as the AlkaDB E-gamma contact. Wait, I'll explain what that means. AlkaDB is the database for alignment and calibration, and E-gamma means electrons and photons. Now, why is this important? It's because the CMS detector is a large detector with various subsystems, and each is designed for a specific purpose. So it's very important that they're all synchronized and calibrated correctly to get correct measurements from our detectors and ensure that we do the best science that we can.
So in my BSc thesis, I am searching for a very interesting and unusual displaced multi-lepton final states. So displaced leptons are those which do not emerge from the point of collision of protons but at some distance away from it. I am working with Riya for this analysis, and since it is quite an uncommon search and not a lot of literature is available for it, me and Riya have spirited discussions regarding what kind of algorithms or ways can we use for this analysis.
I've been enjoying learning different aspects of experimental particle physics. Recently, I'm playing with different Monte Carlo generators, that is simulations. I'm trying out different parameters of Pythia, which is an event generator, and how these parameters affect quarks and how they hadronize. I'm looking forward to matching my samples with the data.
I am an HSF India trainee and I'm working on a simulation pipeline for proton-proton collisions which can happily work on our personal computers. And for that, in the last few months, I have taught myself several machine learning algorithms ranging from the simplest ones like PCA to much more complex ones like generative adversarial networks.
So right now I am trying to measure the cross-section of single top quark processes at CMS. By cross-section, what I mean is the probability that a single top quark is produced when a proton-proton collision takes place. Now this number has already been measured, but I am attempting to figure it out on my own. And at the moment I am trying to figure out and come up with ways to separate my single top signal from the very large background. Everything happens for a reason is something my mother says without a fail. And I'll admit, I have rolled my eyes at this statement several times. But in retrospect, I feel that trusting the process is important. Of course, one should put in the hard yards, be focused, and then just have faith. Things usually do work out.
From a very young age, my mom taught me the importance of being independent. She says that for the first time you get stuck at something, ask for help, but learn how to do it yourself. So the next time you get stuck at it, you know how to do it on your own. And I think that is one of the most important aspects in a research career.
Never give up. No matter how difficult the problem is, it can always be solved by one way or another. But you can never give up on it. And also jugaad, it's important. You cannot always approach a problem with a defined route. You need to be innovative, you need to be creative, and you need to find a way which is convincing and fits the situation appropriately. This is important in science career, in research career, to find and explore all the possibilities and their corresponding procedures.
One thing that I've learned growing up is that failure is very important. You end up learning more from your failures rather than your successes. For example, in the field of particle physics, when we look for a particle but don't end up finding it, we can still put constraints on its parameter space. So the one thing that I've learned is the importance of failure.
Perseverance. I believe that there is no substitute for hard work. Even if things aren't going our way, everything will eventually fall into place. We just need to be patient and keep doing what we love.
Any Bollywood or South Indian movie, where the hero punches the villain goon and he bounces right off the ground and then starts getting all dizzy and unconscious. And even cartoons, Tom and Jerry don't fall off a cliff unless they look down. So I think for entertainment purposes, I will, let the laws of physics to be ignored. I love watching those movies.
The one place that I'll ignore laws of physics for is Harry Potter. Like walking through a wall, entering platform 9 3/4, catching a train to Hogwarts and exploring the magical world, the Hogsmeade village and everything. I could also apparate, that is teleport to anywhere I want in the world. Like I can go to Australia to the Koi Desert Bar, have as many deserts I want and get back in time for my classes. So the one place that I'll ignore laws of physics for is Harry Potter.
Well, it has to be books. Science fiction books and movies actually. For example, Angel and Demons, they show an antimatter bomb, and in movies they're taking data from an open detector. So I mean, yeah, I'll let it slide in science fiction books and movies, I think, yeah.
Let me think. I feel like when I'm discussing zodiac signs with my friends, I'll probably allow my scientific reasoning to take a couple of steps back. I mean, of course, the trajectory of my life cannot be determined by the position of a few planets. But then again, it's fun to blame every unfortunate thing happening in your life on Mercury retrograde.
Probably in my dreams. There are already too many rules to follow in the real world. But in my dreams, I do not have to worry about that. I could fly freely without gravity, or the distances could lose meaning, or time could freeze. The only rule is that there are no rules.
So we know the guy who runs really fast, right? The Flash. So in the Flash series, there is a character called Dr. Harrison Wells who builds the one and only particle accelerator, and he gives the Flash his powers. But while doing that, he blows up the accelerator and gives half of the town powers and makes them meta-villains. So I think that would be a very weird and interesting conversation to have.
I think I would like to have dinner with Rekha, the iconic Indian actress. I have always been drawn to her timeless elegance. I have seen a lot of her interviews, and despite of being asked so many controversial and difficult questions, she handles them quite gracefully. And I really like the way she expresses herself. And I think that is something that I would really like to learn from her.
So recently I saw a video, a few of them actually, about the discovery of the lost tomb of Cleopatra. The search is led by Kathleen Martinez, who is a lawyer by profession actually, and she's handling everything from the people having radar equipments to the people digging on site, as well as the legal documentations. So I would really like to have a conversation with Kathleen about her stories, about her experiences, about how Cleopatra was a political and strategic ruler, as well as convince her a little to take me on an adventure. You know, narrow shafts and underground tunnels. That will be interesting and fun.
Shah Rukh Khan. First of all, I'm a very big fan. He has won many hearts through his amazing work in cinema. But I would love to know his real story in person, his inspiring journey from being an outsider to the king of Bollywood. Plus, his humor and wit make him even more awesome. So yeah, Shah Rukh Khan.
While I wouldn't consider myself an avid reader, I do enjoy reading multiple genres, including feminist literature. So if given an opportunity, I would love to share a meal with Louisa May Alcott, the author of Little Women. I would like to tell her how much I appreciate her for writing so wonderfully about what it's like being a young woman in a patriarchal society, specifically in a time where women-centric stories weren't exactly welcomed. I would also love to see her reaction when I tell her that Job March finally gets the ending that she so truly deserves.
Well, the first reaction is always a bit of a surprise. And I think most of the people just assume that since I'm studying physics, I must be really nerdy or I must be spending my time alone in my desk. But that is not true. Like, I really like interacting with people, and that's how most of us are.
You know, I think people compare us to Sheldon Cooper or Raj Koothrappali.
Yeah, but those are just caricatures, right? We are so much more multifaceted.
You know, I think the first reaction is usually shocked or surprised to see that we are women in physics.
And there's a lot of muttering and unnecessary advice saying that if you are so smart, why not pursue something safer like engineering or medicine?
But then again, it's what we love, it's what we chose.
Right.
While I have received immense support from my family who are also pursuing different fields in science, the most common reaction that I get from people is always surprise. Like, wow, physics, it must be very hard, such a difficult subject. What I find funny is that I was trained for Bharatanatyam for the last 9 years, but pursuing physics comes as more of a surprise to them.
Well, people are often surprised when I tell them I'm a woman in physics. Think about it. What comes to your mind when you picture a scientist? Probably a male genius. Usually it's influenced by what we see on TV and in movies. Well, stereotypes are hard to avoid, but it is different in reality. Today, more women are pushing the boundaries of science, making incredible discoveries and leading the world. So, go for your dreams, do what interests you, and explore new possibilities. You will not regret it.